you haven't been here for any of the spider web, I want you starting with the very first part, which is getting the perfect spider web. If you don't have a perfect spider web, then you don't need to be playing spider web. Gotta get the perfect spider web down first. Like, it's super important. If you understand the mechanics and you have the perfect spider web, all these other counters to what they're doing become super easy. But if your spider web is crap, then you're not gonna be able to get all these other things because you don't have the right control, right? So, perfect spider web. So when I'm here, my perfect spider web, my arm closest to his head is coming in elbow to elbow. I'm grabbing my hip and I'm pushing my chest into the back of his tricep to lock this arm in place, right? When I cross my legs, I'm gonna cross my bottom under my top, because if I do the other way, he can start to push that leg down and he can capture it still. But when I do it this way, now it's protected from that, right? So we're starting here. When I go, when it's EBI overtime, I have to start with one hand on the mat. So I'm gonna put my hand right by his hip, right? And then when they say go, he has to start with his leg up, but he's always gonna drop it, right? But in order to beat him there, all I gotta do is turn my hand over, right? But if your hand's way out here, you're never gonna get there, right? So my hand's right here. And then they say go, I catch, and I fall. I bring my knees to my chest, right? See how I brought him up? This is where I want him. Now I'm gonna switch to curling his head because he's in this rear naked choke defense, right? So I unlock, this goes to his head, this curls high into his armpit. From here, I'm staying tight with my upper body, and then I just push his face away. See how he switched his grip? Now I come over, I lock it, and we finish. Right? That's your perfect spider web sequence. Right? So again, here, locked, cross, bottom under the top, we catch, I pull him in, we're tight here. I unlock to the head, curl into the armpit. I push him away until he's forced to switch grips. Now I come over and lock that far arm, and I continue to pull. When I go to finish, I don't switch to this. This allows him to turn his wrist whichever direction he wants to, and now you're trying to fight it with your forearm against his forearm. I'm right here, elbow, in the crease of my elbow, right? So when I'm down here and it pops, I just slide it up and I catch his wrist, and then I finish right here. I never let go of the leg because the moment I let go, he's gonna hitchhiker. Right? So now, once you have that down, now he's gonna start to do things that he thinks are really slick. Like he'll put the palm of his hand on his forehead so that I can't get that pressure into his head when I pull him down. I still start the same way, I pull him in. Now I reach and I grab that top arm, that is the problem. I just flare my knee. I just solve the problem. And we finish. It's called the Bollinger break. Right? Next up, I fall, I get here. Maybe I'm having issues as I go because he's pushing my knee out, right? And I know I can't get to his head, right? So now I'm gonna take my foot and I just flip it under his elbow. And I push his elbow out, and we finish. That's the boogie break, all right? So that's the next option. So next up we get here, he's doing this scenario. I go to flip the foot up on top, he pushes the leg out to block it. My top leg comes through to the armpit and I curl. Alright? Now I sit up, keep this elbow control, my foot goes to his hip. From here I'm going head to the mat, sits him up, shoot under, and we get our side triangle. He's usually going to continue to defend the arm because that's what he's been defending. So I shoot my arm through from the top, grab the back of the tricep, pull it in, and now I tighten this up. I shoot this deep, lock this up, and we get the choke. Right? If at any point I'm going for the choke, he separates his arm, he starts driving that elbow out to stop the choke. I pick his hand, I push it to the mat. My head goes to the mat. I sit up, and we finish the Kimura. All right, I know that one was a lot, so we'll do that one again. All right, so you can go rear naked choke. All right, so let's say you started off, you got your perfect spider web. We got here, I start pushing his head away. He switches to the gable grip. I start to come over, he pushes it down. Right? Anytime that happens, this foot is coming in, is digging through, and is opening that up. If I open this, I can go back to finishing. I got to get shoulder control, right? So I got to get some kind of shoulder control and I can finish. But if he keeps his hands together there, I'm going to sit up, cup the back of his elbow so he can't get his arm back. My foot comes to his hip. From here, my head goes to the mat and I bring my shoulder forward. We'll sit him up. Shoot underneath, pull this in, switch, grab the tricep, pull, tighten up my triangle, we finish. He spreads the arms to fight, hand to the mat, head to the mat, sit, and we finish the Kimura. All right? I know it's a lot, but those who have been here, it's all stuff we've done. If you haven't been here for it, I'll be walking around to help. So grab a partner, start drilling through the different options. Let's get them all down, all right? Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Have to have an answer for the hitchhiker escape. If you don't have the leg, then you have to have an answer for the hitchhiker escape because they're going to go. If you're able to break their grip, that's their last resort, is they're going to hitchhike and go. Some people will do it right off the rip if you don't have their leg, but that's just the escape they love. Rajan does that all the time. He loves the hitchhiker. So if you don't have control of him, he's gone. So if that happens, what I want you to think about is what you need in order to finish an R-bar, which is what?
Legs together.
I need control of what?
The shoulder
and
The
hips.
shoulder and the wrist and my hips lined up to their elbow, right? So the problem is if I don't have control of his leg, maybe I went in with this arm, and I did something and I broke this, now he can hitchhike her, right? He can start going this way. So I have to gain control of his shoulder. To continue to fight, or I have to switch to something else, right? So if you think of it that way, you can follow these escapes and you can still finish, but you have to be thinking in your head, I have to regain control of the shoulder, because that's what you're losing when they hitchhike her, right? So we'll play with this for just a second. So one more time. So, because you can, like if you're struggling to do any of this, maybe I can't get his leg, he's already down, maybe I make the switch, and I can come here, I can even come through and I can break this way, 2-on-1, now I have this, right? So now, anytime he starts to hitchhike, the first thing is I need a 2-on-1 on his arm, so he can't pull his arm out, right? I can just go burrito grip. You could go Kimura, but he's going to try to straighten his arm, so burrito grip is usually going to work better, right? As he continues to come out, I'm just going to drop this knee in, right? And then as he goes to posture his head up, I regain control by bringing my thigh to the back, right? I'm just bringing my hip to the back of his elbow, right? If he postures all the way up, I can go to the other side of his face, right? But all I'm doing is regaining control of this shoulder, right? I'm dropping my shin right on the back of it, and then I'm connecting my thigh so my hip is lined up with his elbow. And then you have your break again. Does that make sense? Need to see it again? One more time? You want to do the other arm?
Sure. I don't think I can hitchhike it this way, but I'll try.
Right? So I managed to break. He starts to hitchhike her, right? So I'm just regaining control, right?
Tap, there it is.
Right? So most of them, they start posturing up to fight, and then I can regain,
Tap.
and I can posture. I can also make switches here. Right, and I'm chasing that shoulder control as he's coming around, right? There's different ways of doing it, that's one, right? There's other ways and you can kind of play with it and see, but if you have the mindset of just gaining shoulder control as you go, that's what I'm chasing, right? So I'm just kind of following him around. I want him to make the big movements and I want to make little movements.
You just switched your hip and threw your leg over.
Yeah, let me do it too so you can see. Right, so he's defending. I make the break, he starts to hitchhiker. Right, I'm just dropping this down, and then I'm regaining control. Right, and I'm just bringing my hips right on top of his elbow.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
And you're pushing it up.
and then I can go wherever. Right, I can finish here. If he turns his wrist, and we're back in here. Right.
And then if I pop shot, that's in the face. You go home with it.
He could, and then he goes right back to Spiderweb. Right? So, do it again. So once I make the switch to your arm, then do a forward roll to come out. Does that make sense?
I'm gonna try.
I'll walk through it.
Break my grip.
Right, so I break, he starts to come. I drop this down. He's like, nope, I'm gonna forward roll back through.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I see it.
Right, I just switch back to control of the shoulder again.
Still.
Right, I'm just chasing control of the shoulder. I have the wrist, right? If I get the shoulder, my hips are gonna line up with the elbow, so I'm just chasing shoulder.
So you're only going burrito grip when you really need to.
Once I break the grip, because it's gonna be hard to control him once he starts to go, right? So I'm just gonna go burrito grip to keep control of that arm, so you can't just pull the arm out, and then I'm gonna chase the shoulder control.
Yes, I wouldn't be able to have burrito grip and you squeeze it up and not be able to get that to it.
Right? Yeah, it makes it hard. Like, you know, now it's right. You know, so I want a 2-on-1 anytime I don't have the leg, because he can create so much torque with his hips that I'm not going to be able to control him with one arm. All right? So if I have the hips, then I don't need the 2 arms on the arm. But if I don't and he can move his hips, then I need to go 2 arms. You know, and that's why even like if I know, you know, if I'm here and we go and he drops his leg down and I can't get under it, I'll make a switch to a 2-on-1 right away. Because I know he's going somewhere with his hips, right? Yeah, wherever he goes, he might try to stack me, he might try to hitchhiker, he might try to capture, he might try to, like I have to have 2-on-1, right? And, you know, because otherwise he's just going to pull his arm out.
If he gets your leg while you have that 2-on-1, he obviously can't get his elbow out. You're just going over.
Yeah.
Cool.
I just changed the angle.
That still wouldn't help me here. If, like, where was I? It was here.
Yeah.
Right, I caught this.
Yeah.
You're still gonna be able to pull it.
Yeah, and then I just cut the angle so that even though he has my foot, now I have shoulder control again. If I stay at this angle, I don't.
Right.
Right? Now he can turn and pull his shoulder out. So I just cut the angle. Now I have shoulder control again.
Okay.
What if I tried to collect the other leg though?
Good luck.
Oh,
Then I just continue
Got
to
worse.
chase the shoulder. Right? That's all it is.
That's all you
I'm
need.
just chasing shoulder control the whole time. Right? Yeah. But no, those are great questions, right? Because that's how it goes. And so my job is, as long as I have the arm, I'm just chasing shoulder control. Does that make sense? Let's play with it for a couple minutes. 3, 2, 1.